Hey everybody, it's Chad from The Right Line, and now that the Overland trailer build is completed, I wanted to give you a final walkthrough. Now for me, having a trailer meant that I had to have a trailer that served more than one purpose. It wasn't strictly going to be a trailer that I was going to take off-road camping. I had to have a trailer that I was going to be able to use for multiple situations. If I had to go to the dump, take some stuff there, if I had to go recycle some steel, go to the steel yard, buy some material. It was never meant to be a trailer that I was going to tow off-road. Certainly not one that was ever going to meet a real aggressive trail. It had to meet all of those needs. What I started with was a Carson 5x8 utility trailer that looked like this. Starting in April of this year, I started to transform that 5x8 utility trailer into what you see right there. Now, knowing that this trailer was going to see some Forest Service roads and maybe a little bit of mild off-roading, it needed to have a spring over axle flip. So, took the spring, flipped it from below the axle to the top of the axle, replaced all the perches, replaced all the little plastic bushings in there, those bolts and everything. And in effect, this raised the trailer approximately 3 inches. I replaced all of the trailer's electrics, including a 7-plug connector, new side marker lights, and new LED taillights. This tailgate was, when I first bought this trailer, twice as high. Certainly didn't need a tailgate that high, so I cut it down. You may also remember from some of my previous videos that this tailgate also required some modification with the pivots here and there so that this tailgate could come all the way down and just about get down to the ground. Inside of the bed of the trailer are these 48-inch long pieces of what's called L-track. Now, L-track is cool because you can change the direction or change how you tie down your material in the bed of your trailer with these quick fasteners. These things are really cool and they're super easy to operate. One of the big requirements of this trailer was that it had to support my Free Spirit Recreation Medium Series Canopy Rooftop tent. So it didn't take long, and what we've done is we've built this rack. This rack goes over the bed of the trailer and supports the rooftop tent. It is bolted onto the frame of the trailer, so if I had to, I could take it off very easily and then I could just use the bed of the trailer. Now, speaking of this rack and the rooftop tent, something that became very apparent to me after I got this trailer home and after I started mounting this rooftop tent was that everything that was going into this trailer affected tongue weight. Now, if you've been following this series, you probably saw that late in the build, I had to do something mildly drastic. Because the tongue weight was so heavy with everything else added on, I had to take the rack, and instead of it being positioned here in front of the toolbox, I had to move it back. Moved it back about 2 feet, which loaded the rooftop tent and the rack almost directly over the top of the axle. That greatly diminished the tongue weight on the back of my Jeep, which has a limit of 200 pounds. So instead of having a tongue weight with all of this gear on at 152 pounds, it's now 83. Now, the tongue jack that came on this trailer just obviously wasn't going to do, and it had to be replaced. One, because it was centered right over the top of the tongue, and whenever the trailer was hooked onto the back of the Jeep, the tongue jack was directly into the spare tire. So it had to be changed, and instead, I have this tongue jack here. This tongue jack pivots and swings out of the way. I also added these tongue jacks back here. There's one on either side. Now, before we get into the electrics inside the toolbox, let's go over the sleeping arrangements. Now, here I am underneath the annex for my Free Spirit Recreation Medium Series Canopy tent. Now, the beautiful thing about having this annex is that when it's connected to the tent and it's staked down to the ground, I've got a nice big closet, if you will, for privacy, for doing whatever I want. And when this is nailed down to the ground out when I'm camping, it's big enough I could put a cot under here. Now, my annex also comes with a mat for the ladder, comes with a floor, and it comes with a travel bag that I can store the annex in when I'm done with it. The nice thing about it is, like I said before, I can technically sleep 4 people out of this thing. Now, my son and I are in love with this rooftop tent. We've had this out a handful of times, and it is awesome. I never thought that I would really love a rooftop tent as much as we do, but this rooftop tent is awesome. Basically, it's a queen-size bed, more or less, and it stays super dark in here when you're trying to sleep, and you're up off the ground. Now, truth be told, I really meant to take this out someplace really cool for you this weekend, but since it had been raining pretty much non-stop over the past 2 days and everything's so saturated, the driveway is gonna have to do. Now, the first camping trip this thing is gonna go on is coming up here in just a couple weeks. I'm gonna be taking this thing out to the Four Peaks cleanup, which is scheduled for Saturday, November the 3rd. Mark your calendars. And I'm gonna be camping out of this thing for about 3 days. So, you can bet I'm going to be taking some video. Now let's go into the electrics of the trailer, because I know there's a lot of you that are very interested. What we're starting with here is a Goal Zero 100 watt Boulder solar panel. Now this solar panel is going to be hard mounted onto the top of the lid of the trailer on the toolbox here, but I also have an extendable cord. I can take it off and set it down on the ground. I spent a lot of time inside this toolbox getting all of this stuff prepared, and I'm super excited about it because, well, for one, it works. I'm starting with a Duralast Platinum group size 24 AGM battery. Now that battery is going to supply everything electrical in this system with power, charged by that 100 watt Boulder solar panel. There's my charge controller, and I do have that portably mounted because occasionally I may want to go camping without the trailer and I want to charge the battery inside the Jeep. Next to that is my master kill switch right there, which is got a 80 amp resettable circuit breaker in between, so that way if there is a problem with this system, I'm protected. Powering a lot of my electrical components is going to be this 2000 watt Energizer power inverter. It has 2 115 watt plugs down there, and at the bottom USB connectors down there to charge phones, cameras, you name it. Additionally, I have 2 more USB connectors here, a 12 volt power connector here, my switch which operates the lights underneath the rooftop tent, and a voltmeter so it'll show me what's left inside the battery. Also inside this box is an LED work light because, well, at night I'd like to have some light inside my work box. Taking the solar panel off the workbox and putting it onto the ground is super easy. Now I've got the renewable energy of the sun charging my AGM battery, in this case 13 volts. This has been one heck of a project that I started back in April, and I'm very glad that all of you could share it with me. It's a bit of a sense of accomplishment to have all this done, and you can bet that I am super excited about taking this out for the first time. So what's coming up for the right line, you ask? Well, you're gonna see me start and continue to work on some of the projects with Chewy. With the Overland trailer build, I really wanted to get done before I tackled something major with Chewy. The next big fabrication project you're gonna see is gonna be one of 2 things. I haven't decided yet. I'm either gonna fabricate my own roof rack for Chewy, or I'm gonna buy one. Now obviously the cost has been, or is, prohibitive, but let's see how it goes. I have a lot of projects that I want to do with Chewy, as you can imagine. Just like any other project though, they cost money. First on the list, since I've already got the winch mount, I'm going to be ordering a winch. So I got to get a winch mounted on Chewy. I've also bought those LED rock lights that you saw. I'm going to be getting those mounted as well. Other items on the to-do list are going to be a lift kit, obviously, 35-inch tires with some new wheels, front axle armor for the Dana 44 in the front, and some flat fenders from Bushwhacker. I'm really glad that all of you could follow along with me on this build. It's been really exciting for sure, and I hope that you're going to follow me along with all the other builds and other adventures that I'm going to be going on. Hoping to get on the trail a lot more. Obviously with this and things coming up, the adventures are just on the back burner. So hopefully once some more work gets done with Chewy, becomes a little bit more trail worthy, I'm going to be hitting the trails as well. So you're going to hopefully be seeing some more trail videos as well. If you're finding me for the first time, please consider a like, a comment, because I read everyone, a share, or even a subscription. I've even included 3 other ways in the description below that you can support this channel. I very much appreciate your watching, and I hope that you continue to follow me on my next adventures. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.